It's time to Get Real with Eddie, here to help you understand the changing real estate market and meet your real estate goals. Over 19 years in the business. 2018 Realtor of the Year of Three Rivers. Past president of the Three Rivers Association of Realtors. Director at the Illinois Association of Realtors and team lead of the Ruettiger Group at Baird Warner. Here's Eddie Ruettiger.
It's Tuesday at noon, and we are back. Well, most of us are back. Nancy's got a tequila hangover. At least that's what I'm going with.
Definitely.
So here in the studio with me is none other than Lina Aguilar. Lina, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am good. I had a good 4th of July weekend. How about you?
I did too. We spent some time with family and, the kids, and it was pretty good.
We did fireworks. We went down to Braidwood, saw the Braidwood fireworks, then went down to downtown and saw the ones at Baird Park. Mm-hmm. And then we went to Joliet Junior College last night.
Oh, okay.
So it's like we had a fireworks show that we saw every single night. We saw some family too. We had a picnic over at one of the aunt's house over the weekend. So they've got an in-ground swimming pool. So we were swimming, having a good old time.
Yeah.
So that little quick storm rolled through.
Yeah, that kind of was a little bad. But, it got better. So we still got a chance to do fireworks, and it was fun. It was fine.
Yeah, it was. It was a good time. So, all right, let's talk some real estate. And right off the top, things to avoid after applying for a home loan. We haven't talked about this, I felt, in a while. Mm-hmm. So I think it comes up at a good time because we're starting to see, there's no doubt in my mind, buyers stepped out of the market in the last month or two. Maybe not a lot. Maybe some people think more than others. But, I'm noticing some buyers holding off. Are you seeing buyers hold off?
A lot of my buyers are holding off.
Yeah.
So,
they want to see where this market's going to go with.
Mm-hmm. It's normal, I think. They're just a little nervous. But
well, nervous, and let's be honest, they're hoping and praying, the prices are going to come down. The prices are going to come down. And we keep looking at them, no, the prices aren't coming down. And the data that came out, we'll talk about Romeoville later on here in the show. I'm not seeing prices starting to come down yet. I'm not. So even with, that doesn't mean we're not going to start negotiating again. And, instead of getting 103, 104% of asking price, you're getting 99 or 98. But that was traditional. Mm-hmm. Most houses sell for about 97% of asking price. All right. What are some things to avoid when applying for a home loan?
Honestly, don't deposit large sums of cash.
That triggers some big things. Because they want to know, wait. Where did this money come from? Is this a normal paycheck? Is this out of the ordinary? They want to understand where, the money comes from. Mm-hmm. So that is a great example. What's another example of what not to be doing after we apply for a home loan?
Well, you shouldn't make any large purchases either. So.
Cash or credit. All right, credit's the obvious one, okay? Everybody's like, well, I didn't buy that new sofa, on credit because now that changes your debt to income ratios. That may push you over. You may not qualify for the loan. But even with cash, wait until you have the house to buy the new furniture, or you might not have the house for the new furniture. Because what if something comes up and you actually find they recalculate and refigure something and you need an extra $2,000 cash and you used it on the furniture? You're not getting the house.
So you don't need the couch.
Yes, exactly. All right, what would be another thing not to be doing?
You shouldn't co-sign loans for anyone.
Yeah, absolutely. You shouldn't be co-signing, a loan because that's going to change, again, your debt to income ratios, as they say. And the reason why debt to income ratios are so important, we talk about it and we're going to talk about it again for a second here. You don't qualify for a $300,000 house. You qualify for a monthly payment. And if you are a co-signer on someone else's loan for their couch or their furniture, let's just say.
Their car.
That's
a big one.
All right, car's an easy one. That's what, let's say $400 a month payment.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so let's say you're paying $400, $500 a month. Well, I'm not making the payment. No, but they have to take that out of your potential of monthly payment.
You're responsible for that payment
because you're responsible.
It's under your credits, your social. It's your payment.
Here's one I think that's not as obvious. Don't switch banks. Lenders need to source and track your assets. And when you switch banks, it makes it very hard. A lot of times you can't go back to a bank after you've closed your accounts to get any old information, or if you have to, it is a pain. It is just a pain to try to work with a bank you aren't working with anymore. So, what's another one?
Don't apply for a new credit. So don't go around and open new credit cards. You know, sometimes you go to the store and like, well, if you apply for a new credit card, you will get 10% off or 15 or whatever. And sometimes it's tempting, but people don't realize that it affects your credit. And your loan officer will get notifications that you're opening accounts.
Yeah, it really can affect your credit.
Yeah.
It really can affect your credit. And it's not understood why by most people, because here's the thing. When you apply for that credit card at that store, the store pulls a credit report to see what your credit is, to see how much they want to give you in a line of credit. They don't go back and tell the credit companies until 30, maybe 60 days, depending on where you're at in the cycle. Oh, by the way, we gave them a $2,000 line of credit, a $5,000 line of credit. So now they make the assumption of a lot worse and bring your score down anywhere from 20, 30, 50 points until they actually get 60 days afterwards. You're fine, but usually you're closing on a house in 30 to 45 days.
It's true. And if you're already borderline the credit score that you need to, qualify for a certain loan, then you're already, the opportunity right there is.
And they pull credit right before closing every time.
Exactly.
There's always that credit pull right before closing to make sure you haven't done any of these things. So another aspect, don't close accounts. Many buyers believe having less credit makes them less risky, and that's actually not true. They want to see you have more credit but not be using it, basically. All right, so if I took all my credit lines and just said all between my credit cards and this and that, I had $25,000 in credit, but I'm only using $2,000, they're happy to see that. But if I close one of that credit cards, and let's say it was a $5,000 limit, now I'm down to 20, now I just went to 10%. I've still got $2,000 and it balances and $20,000 in the limit, but now I'm at a 10% ratio, which is going to bring your credit scores down when you go up. Because when you hit certain numbers, 10, 25, 35, 50% of credit used, those change your credit score numbers.
They do.
Yeah. So, overall, if you have questions, we do have some really good references with lenders, and we've got some credit repair specialists we can always put you in touch with if you haven't talked to someone about these items. It really, really helps to talk to experts when you're running into credit issues. There's no doubt about it.
It does, because they help you understand why you can't open that new credit card, or why you can't help your mom or your sister, whoever it is, to apply for their car loan, even though you're not paying for it, So it's just easier and it's more helpful.
Yeah, it really is easier and a lot more helpful. So, all right, moving on. The average homeowner gained $64,000 in equity over the past year. This number is just huge. I mean, so we're talking a year for about this month is what they're looking at, year to year. Equity is obviously the current value minus what you owe in the loan. So, what did Patrick Dodd, president and CEO of CoreLogic, explain?
Price growth is the key ingredient for the creation of home equity wealth. This has led to the largest one-year gain in average over equity wealth for owners.
And that's a huge gain. And this is why everybody thinks that the sky's falling. Well, they went up $64,000 in equity in the last 12 months. That must mean they have to come down. Mm-hmm. Why? Why does that mean it has to come down? And keep in mind, that's a national average. So we're going to try to zoom in here on Illinois because we did not go up 64. We went up 31. That sounds about right. 31,000 in 1 year for Illinois, that sounds about right. And then we look at those markets that I think are extremely hot. Arizona's up 96,000 in 1 year. California, $141,000 in 1 year. Washington, 114,000. Utah's 92, Colorado's 92, Nevada was 91,000. Florida was 90,000. Texas, 54,000. Hawaii was 139,000. I mean, you look at just all of the information. Every state is up. The only ones we don't, South Dakota and Mississippi, there's not enough data on it. And this is based on the first quarter. But at 31,000 in a year, considering, I look at it as we're making a lot of those equity growths was us getting the money value back that we shouldn't have lost in the Great Recession. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like, you hear people going, with the jobs market. Well, we created blah, 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 this many jobs. We didn't create this many jobs. Some people, they just went back to work.
Right.
Because they weren't working. Mm-hmm. For valid reasons. I mean, the pandemic was bad and it was very dangerous. But that's the same thought process I have with a lot of these price growths. You look at, we were just coming up little by little by little by little by little by little. By 2018, 2019, we were back to where we were in 2006. So we didn't have any growth in the market. I think this is just, a lot of this is the market actually stabilizing and getting back to normal. Granted, the low interest rates push this. The lack of supply pushed this. And you're still seeing it in this market because it's still a very competitive market. We're seeing, I still was seeing multiple offers last month.
Yeah, it's still busy. It's still very, there's just not enough inventory and people are still wanting the house and there's so many offers and that's why a lot of the buyers stepped out. Right. It's understandable.
Yeah, it's understandable. It's not the interest rates that have pushed them out. Personally, I think it's two reasons. A, they got tired of the multiple offers. Mm-hmm. And B, I think the gas prices actually pushed people out of the market.
Yeah, imagine it's expensive and then you have to go looking at all these houses and then it's just so many things to consider, so hopefully. Well,
and it's beyond that. They want to see the market itself stabilize. Mm-hmm. And when this inflation's hitting everybody so hard with these gas prices and then food costs are up, I think people are just taking a back seat and going, all right, I want to figure out what's going to happen here. And that's, I think, part of it. But you're still, even with them, so many stepping out, and it's hard to degree and look at that. I didn't get the data pulled, but we were looking, I think Plainfield, we are averaging about 25 to 30 showings per house, and now we're down to 15 showings per house. So, I mean, you can see that people have stepped out of the market, but you can see there's still a good 2/3 still in the market. So, all right, let's take a look at some numbers for Romeoville, and let's see how the market is doing. So, Romeoville in May had 48 new listings, 44 under contract, 39 closed sales. All right, new listings are down 15.8%. Under contract is down 18.5%. Closed sales are down 2.5%. Median sales price, $280,000, up 16.7%. Average sales price, $281,391. That is up 13.4%. Percentage of original list price received in Romeoville on detached single family was 104.1%, up 1.2% from May of last year. Average market time, 18 days, down from 19 days of last year. That's a decrease of 5.3%. Inventory of homes for sale at the end of the month was 25 units, up from 23. So there was 2 more houses available. That's an 8.7% increase in Romeoville. I still think we have an inventory problem.
Yes.
Your market time is down 18 days, down 1 more day from last year. I understand we have 2 more houses coming on, but that means there's more people listing their house.
Mm-hmm.
And from my view, even though new listings were at 48, down 15.8%. I have to see I didn't see what last month's inventory number was. So there's could be stuff carrying over, because that's an average on 18 days on market. And you look at the trailing 12 days, it's still 23 days, down 43.9% from 41 days, same time last year. I'm saying, to me, it's inventory still. All right, what do we got? Go ahead and give me what the attached single family for Romeoville is.
Well, for new listings, it's 15, and we're down 11.8%. Under contract, 14, down 17.6%. Closed sales, 19, up 5.6%. The median sale price is $245,000. And that's up 21.6%. The average sale price is $237,496, up 16.6%. The percentage of original list price received is 104.9%, up 2.8%. The average market time, 12 days, down 7.7%. The inventory of homes for sales at the end of the month is 8, and that's down 27.3%.
And this is in May.
Mm-hmm.
This is when we were starting to see the interest rates rising. Because we were seeing them starting to go up end of April into May.
Mm-hmm.
So these are all May closings. I think we were over 5% by the time we hit May 1st. So, I don't see the interest rates pushing anything back just yet. The data, and we saw this data, we knew this data was coming. I'm not shocked at anything here. Is anything surprising you out of any of these numbers?
I mean, honestly, no. We already know we need more houses.
Yeah.
That's really what it is. We need more inventory.
We do need more inventory. We need more inventory, and we need interest rates to stabilize, because they've been kind of going back and forth a little too hard, a little too fast.
Way too fast.
Yeah, way too fast. I mean, I think we hit 6.3 a couple weeks ago. I haven't looked at what it was today. But yeah, it's definitely something that needs to just calm down. So if you're looking to sell your house, it's still a great time to sell.
It is. There's a lot of people still looking, and the rates they have gone up, but they're not horrible yet.
And people are making adjustments for that. Because they have two choices. They can either buy a house or rent. And most people don't want to rent.
No.
Most people are not looking to rent at all, just because if you're looking at anything in this area that's 2 to 3 years or longer, renting doesn't make sense. You're giving up equity. You're paying the landlord's mortgage. We've talked about that time in and time out. And I'm a landlord. I get it. I understand it. But both of these data and all this numbers show me that this still needs more inventory in Romeoville. And Romeoville's got something that's really about to finish off and is at the very final stages. And that is that divergent interchange on Weber and 55. They have switched the lanes now. I have to go through that periodically, and they have finally switched over where you're now going over to the left side, and then you come back to the right side.
Yeah.
So they are just pretty much finishing up the construction in that area, and I think having that interchange finished completely, and when they can start really putting traffic through that interchange, I think it's going to help support Romeoville and that Bolingbrook area around it. Dramatically. I mean, it's really going to make a big, big difference on everything that's going on. So if you're looking to invest, I think investing in Romeoville is definitely a good maneuver too. I mean, buying in Romeoville, I don't think is a bad move whatsoever.
No.
So, all right. We're going to take a quick break. When we get back from our break, we are going to talk about, once again, we're going to give you 2 more reasons why this housing market is not a bubble. All right, so keep it here with Get Real with Eddie.
It's Get Real with Eddie, where everyone deserves the opportunity of home.
It's Get Real with Eddie. Hey, if you got questions on the market, give Lina a call. Lina, what's the best number for them to reach you at?
It's area code 402-637-4645.
All right. We still have to keep talking about this. And we're going to probably be talking about this I think the next 18 to 24 months. It is not a bubble market. All right, so a recent survey from Pulse Economics asks over 100 housing market experts and real estate economists if they believe the housing market is in a bubble. All right. How many of them said no, Lina?
60%.
How many said yes?
32%.
Who said I don't know?
8%.
I'm shocked that you could find a housing market expert or an economist that could say, I don't know.
Not sure, yeah.
Yeah, that they couldn't give them an opinion on this. So, because I thought everybody had an opinion. So 60% has said, no, we are not in a housing bubble. So, what's one of the reasons they're giving for not being in a housing bubble?
Well, the low housing inventory is causing homes prices to rise.
Once again, we just talked about this before break. Inventory. We are still going up in value because there's no inventory.
Right.
So inventory of homes, 4 years of the housing crash, 8.9 months. These are month supply of existing homes for sale in May of each year. So this is the same time frame. In 2007, this is right before the crash, because the crash was 2008. 8.9 months of housing inventory. In 2008, 10.8 months of housing inventory. 9.7, and 10, 8.1. Last 4 years of inventory in May, 4.3 months in 2019, 4.6 in 2020, 2.5 in 2021, 2.6 in 2022. The fundamentals just don't add up. Odette Cushy, Deputy Chief Economist at First American, what did he explain?
The fundamentals driving house prices growth in the U.S. remain intact. The demand for homes continues to exceed the supply of homes for sale, which is keeping house price growth high.
It's a hedge against inflation. It's a hedge against inflation. It helps you control your housing pricing because we've seen, and we're going to continue to see, rents rise.
Mm-hmm.
What's the second reason why we're not in a bubble?
The mortgage lending standards today are nothing like the last time.
And this is true. You've got Dodd-Frank out there. You've got a lot of different laws that were not in place prior to the collapse. So lending standards are tighter today. Volume of loans in the billions with a credit score greater than 620. Is that put greater than?
Yeah.
So it's greater than 620. You're talking in 06 it peaked at 350 billion roughly loans. 08 was 150 billion. 2021 we did about 50 billion. So there's a dramatic difference of the credit scores that are less than 620. So this is supposed to be less than 620. I'm looking at the top half of it now. But yeah, that greater sign, the way that I think they made a typo on the...
Yeah.
Realtor.com notes lenders are giving mortgages only to the most qualified borrowers. These buyers are less likely to wind up in foreclosure. And we saw that in the Great Recession, or during the pandemic. How many people, yes, we had a great amount that went into forbearance and protection.
Mm-hmm.
But most out of the 4.8 million where it peaked, most have come out perfectly fine.
Yes.
We do not have a huge amount of foreclosure houses coming on the market. Are there some? Yeah, there's some. There's always some.
Mm-hmm.
There's always a personal issue, a personal moment where someone unfortunately loses their home. But overall, no, we're not seeing this mass race into foreclosure. So it is not a bubble market. Now we're watching it. We're always watching it. Can something change? Yes, something can change. I'm not going to argue that. But I have no data points pointing to this other than people saying, well, the prices are high. Well, prices are high on everything right now. Look at inflation.
Everything is high.
Everything's high. I mean, based on that, does that mean we have a bubble market in gas and gas stations are going out of business?
Nope.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I know individual gas stations don't make a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
That was a whole big debate over the weekend, on gas and stuff. But still, overall, you go in, you buy your soda, you buy your candy. Guess what? Gas station's making some money and they're good to go.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. I want to take a look at a new listing at 25504 West Rocky Creek Road in Plainfield. This is a 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath, 3-car garage, 2-story home. Has brick and vinyl front. It is 2,907 square feet. It is on the corner. Check that. It's on lot 5021. But the Weston model, which I think is just gorgeous. I love the kitchen. The kitchen has got an island facing the family room with the sink in the island. I think it's just beautiful. Quartz countertops. This is designer select, so it is all upgraded completely.
Oh, you got the double oven?
Yep.
I just saw that.
Yeah. You gotta love the double oven. So all stainless steel appliances. Your colors may vary depending on what you're looking for. The nice thing about this model is it is to be ready in August.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. So you could be closing on this in August. If you've been looking for a home and you cannot find one, you want to give us a call at 815-823-5478. We can answer any and all the questions on this.
That's so lucky.
Yeah.
By August, I mean, usually people are waiting way longer than that.
Most of the selections have been done and made. It is designer select, so you're getting some upgrades on the product. You do have a fireplace in this unit. But yeah, it is a great property. And you know what I love still about Creekside? You were literally walking distance of downtown Plainfield. You cross down, you go over to Mather Woods, you can walk literally the trail, and you walk right into the downtown area right behind City Hall, where they do all the concerts and stuff at night. So you don't have to get in the car, you don't have to drive. Yes, it's about a mile walk.
But the nice weather now, I mean...
Oh, absolutely. And I need the mile walk, let me tell you. There's no doubt about that. And then you got all the great dining and everything with downtown Plainfield.
You just go down there, explore, and just have a good time.
Seriously, the playground that's in the Village Green is gotten 2 thumbs up from my son. He loves it. It's
nice.
Climbing...
Yes.
If you got a child that climbs, he loves it. We took him to the Forge over the weekend. Do you know where that's at?
I do not.
It's the Forge Adventure Park out in Lamont.
Okay.
This
Never
is
been there.
it's like down on the canal, and it is ziplining basically.
Oh, really?
Yes. He could not go on all the stuff.
Okay.
Because we had a busy weekend other than just fireworks. He could go on to the stuff because you got to be 70 pounds, and I think it was like 52 inches or something.
Okay.
I forget how tall, but mainly 70 pounds because they need the weight to get you to run down the zip line.
True.
Otherwise, you're gonna be sitting there.
You're just gonna be there,
hanging over the leg,
hanging around.
The kid would probably get get a good laugh out of it. I'm not kidding you, but it was pretty cool. We played some laser tag, and then he went on. But they do have a kids area that he went on. And he was climbing all over, was like 12 feet off the ground.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah.
Not scared at all.
No, not scared at all. I had one problem because when you're up there, they have like obstacle that you can
okay.
do.
Yeah.
Well, he was trying to walk a rope, and he slipped, and he took the rope right across the tummy, and it knocked the wind out of him.
Oh, my God.
He was like, oh, and of course, it's the moment when Mom walks away, Dad's the only one there. I'm like, all right, I'm on my way up. So... And, so I'm getting the workout, going up, climbing up to check on them. But overall, it was a good time. It was a great venue. Just an amazing venue.
I mean, that sounds fun. I'll probably look into that.
There is tons of trails back there.
Okay.
And for bike riding and walking that are completely free. And then they have, I saw they had a bike riding obstacle course. The laser tag was a little hard for him.
Okay.
All right, because he's done laser tag over, haunted trails.
Okay.
And he can hold that gun. This laser gun was bigger.
Okay.
And he couldn't get it where he could aim and look through the sensor and stuff. So it really was a struggle for him.
Give him a year. He'll be fine next year.
Yeah. So he got bored with it, and he's like, and he just kind of sat.
Yeah.
He usually doesn't get bored when we're doing laser tag at trails. So, all right. Well, anyways, if you have questions on this 2-story, give us a call on this Weston model. It is, again, 2,907 square feet, 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath, in Plainfield, on Rocky Creek Road. All right. After the break, we are going to talk about little home, how it's a home ownership is a hedge against inflation, and some reasons why you should be working with an agent. So keep it here with Get Real with Eddie, and we'll talk about all of that after the break.
You made a smart move to Get Real with Eddie, helping you make your next smart move into your next home.
Welcome back to Get Real with Eddie. Hey, don't forget, if you got questions in the market, give me a call, 815-823-5478. Again, 815-823-5478. All right, so we've said it before and we said it again. Home ownership is a great hedge against the impact of inflation. According to the National Association of Home Builders, what did they come out with, Lina?
Consumer prices accelerate again in May as shelter. Energy and food prices continue to surge at the fastest pace in decades. This marked the third straight month for inflation above an 8% rate and was the largest year-over-year gain since December 1981.
And so inflation's up over 8%. Again, but we just looked at Romeoville numbers, and their housing median sales price is up 16.7%. Now, granted, I get that feeds into the inflationary number, but still, you're hedging against your inflation. So while your house was up 16, are you really only up 8%? And there's the question I don't have the answer to. Because an 8% gain in the market would be normal. A little above normal, but I'd take anything around 5 to 10. You know, but I mean, we're like we said, we've seen it everywhere. Gas, groceries, and utilities. I'm seeing inflation everywhere. Mm-hmm. Just the cost of doing business has gone up substantially. So, and I haven't looked. I haven't seen a lot of shortages. I've seen some. I mean, we went through the paper products right when the pandemic hit.
Yeah, that was interesting. I haven't seen, not in the same way that it was back then, but I don't think I've seen very much going on right now.
I've seen a couple empty shelves. I mean, we had the baby formula issues.
Oh, that's one, yes.
Yeah,
that's true.
I've seen that. And I know Nancy's got a granddaughter, and they were looking for formulas in different spots in different places.
I saw her, post and stuff about that.
Yeah, so I've seen some empty shelves on certain things. One of the things we noticed, my son eats frozen pancakes, but it's like has to be the Eggo frozen pancakes. Very specific brand, very hard to find.
Really?
Very hard to, it's been very hard to find. So that's one thing that we personally have noticed is trying to find, that.
Okay.
James Royal, senior wealth management reporter at Bankrate, says a fixed rate mortgage allows you to maintain the biggest portion of your house's expenses at the same payment. Sure, property taxes will rise and other expenses may creep up, but your monthly housing payment remains the same. That's certainly not the case if you're renting. And here's the thing, property taxes rising and all the other expenses creeping up, you're still paying for that as a renter. You don't get out of paying that. The landlord's got that banked in.
Mm-hmm.
So they have fees and costs that they can definitely look at. Investing in an asset that historically outperforms inflation. While it's true rising home prices are higher, while it's true rising home prices and higher mortgage rates mean that buying a house today costs more than it did even a few months ago, you still have the opportunity to set yourself up for a long-term win. That's because in inflationary times, you want to be invested in an asset that outperforms inflation and typical households or grows in value. And then they give us a chart of inflation versus the appreciation of home averages. So in the 70s, inflation was at 7.1 and homes went up 9.9. In the 80s, it was pretty close. Inflation was 5.6 and homes went up 5.5. The 90s, inflation was at 3%, homes went up at 4%, 2.6% inflation in the early 2000s, and homes went up 2.3%. And that's saying a lot because 2008 was in there. I mean, you look at the 80s and you look at the 2000s, the 80s had the savings and loan scandal, and then the 2000s had the whole mortgage crisis. Both were things that affected real estate directly, and it still held pretty solid with inflation.
Mm-hmm.
2000, the tens, there's an actual word for that, the teens. Both in even the 2000s, I never can remember the word. Inflation was at 1.8, and housing prices went up 4.9%. And in 2020, inflation was 1.4. It went up, housing prices went up 9.2. Mm-hmm. Last year we were at 7% for inflation, and it went up 15%. So, yeah, you're seeing inflation hold off and stay, housing being able to hold the asset and hold the values overall. All right, why an agent is essential in pricing your house. So, when it comes to pricing your home, there are a lot of factors to consider. Value of homes in the area, the condition of your house, where prices are headed, and current buyer demand. Not all of this you can find on a real estate website. There's a lot of sites out there that give you what they think the value of the house is. Mm-hmm. Many of those sites are up to 25% off.
Well, they can't really go inside the house and see or the feel of it,
and see the condition.
Exactly.
And that's where the experience comes in. I mean, how many houses have we gone into and we know when you walk in, you expect, okay, this is what a $200,000 house is going to be worth. A $250, a $300, a $350, a $400. Mm-hmm. I was out over the weekend and there was a house, and you are seeing it. House is overpriced. Mm-hmm. All right, and then they're lowering their price. That does not mean that the prices are coming down. That means that they overpriced the property.
That particular house.
Yes, and there's a difference.
Yes.
And I looked at it, and we were going through it, and I told my client, I'm like, the house was over $400,000, and I'm like, I don't think this is worth $400,000. It just doesn't give me a $400,000 feel. Mm-hmm. So, and it happens, And the concern is if you underprice it, you're leaving money on the table. If you overprice it, it's going to sit longer. Mm-hmm. People are going to think there's something wrong with it, and you're going to leave money on the table. So you got to price it 100% right on the money the first time out of the gate. I think some of the other things, and they're talking, this article talks mainly about the pricing aspect of why do you use an agent. There's so many other reasons, though. First off, the relationships we form with other agents, with other vendors. All right? We have roofers, we have plumbers, we have the lawyers, the inspectors that we can refer to you.
Right. Because I've had like where I had clients trying to do it on their own, which is, their preference. That's fine. But then they'll still call, and you don't really know who the clients are. They're just calling you to get information. You kind of like feeding off of you, and then they want to try to do it on their own, but it's tough, because title companies, attorneys, and just so many steps.
Well, and historically, for sale by owners sell on average 6% less than what they sell with an agent.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to make an average 6% more. And that's been the average of the last 2 years because of this, let's be honest, I stick a sign in the yard and the house is sold market. I'm not going to argue that has the marketing been easy? Yeah, it's been easy. But that's also because of the networks that are established because of the real estate community. Mm-hmm. The MLS, the syndication, all of that. I mean, for us, the amount of pages and places we place a listing at Baird Warner is crazy.
It is. But Eddie, too, it's like what happens after you're in the process and the things go wrong, and now what do I do? Who do I look, for information? And then that's when they're like, maybe I should have gotten an agent to guide me. Inspections go wrong a lot of times, and it's difficult. So, I mean, for me, I'm here to help, answer questions, and then we have those connections with other people. So
yeah, it's what do you do if you have multiple offers?
Exactly.
What do you do if you have an offer because that's a backup offer?
A lot of times the higher offer is not the best offer, and it just depending on the situation, depending on the house, depending on the market, and we have that experience where we can explain and that, just let them know exactly what they're getting, what the offer's asking, because sometimes they see the number, they don't look at all the other conditions that there might be. So
yeah, it's a situation where they got to see the big picture.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the nice thing is we see the big picture multiple times on what's going on, and they got to watch that aspect of it. All right, that wraps it up for Get Real with Eddie. Don't forget, check out getrealwitheddie.com for any information.
Thanks for listening to Get Real with Eddie. Eddie Ruettiger is a realtor at Baird Warner in Plainfield, license number 475141896. Managing broker Steve Engel. For more information on your neighborhood, call Eddie at 815-823-5478 or visit yourdwellings.com.